Have you heard of the broken window theory? It's the idea that if one broken window in a neighborhood isn't fixed, it gives the feeling that nobody cares. Soon more windows break, graffiti shows up, and the whole place falls apart. Now, what does that have to do with simracing? A lot more than you think. In simracing, we all have our own broken windows. It's the small mistakes and sloppy habits we let slide, missing an apex, braking a little too late, rushing the throttle, or driving with the wrong settings. Individually, they don't seem like much, but when you ignore them, they start to compound, and just like the neglected building, your entire driving performance can slowly collapse. Now, here's the part most people miss. Broken windows don't just drag you down. Fixing them can actually create momentum. One small correction in your driving can trigger a chain reaction of improvements you didn't expect. Think about it. You clean one sloppy braking habit and suddenly your corner entries are smoother. That gives you better mid-corner rotation, which means you can get on the throttle earlier. And now your exits are faster, which improves your straight line speed. All from fixing just one broken window. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most sim racers already know what their broken windows are. The problem isn't spotting them, it's that they've convinced themselves those cracks don't matter. And that's the trap. You tell yourself, yeah, I sometimes trigger the ABS or micro lock up the tires, but it's fine. Or, I see I'm overlapping my brake and throttle inputs, but this is such a small detail it can't make the difference. These little factors pile up until the broken windows become part of your identity. You stop questioning them, and worse, if you drive long enough like that, you stop noticing them eventually. That's why so many drivers plateau, because they've built an entire foundation on ignored cracks. And just like a real building, the structure doesn't collapse all at once. It slowly weakens lap after lap, until improvement feels impossible. And the worst part is that broken windows don't stay broken. Just like in the neighborhood example, they create new problems. If your braking is inconsistent, you'll overcompensate with steering. If your throttle control is rough, you'll adjust with the late turning points. Before you know it, you've built layers of habits all designed to patch over one little crack. And now, fixing that original broken window feels 10 times harder because it's tied to everything else. And I know this might not sound uplifting, but even the fast sim racers you admire got there by fixing their broken windows one by one. You don't need to overhaul your entire driving style overnight. Pick one detail and work on that for a session. Focus practice. You'll be amazed how quickly the momentum builds with that. Because each window you repair makes the next one easier to spot, and soon the entire structures can feel solid again. And if you want to help spotting and fixing your own broken windows, that's exactly what we do inside my academy. Every week, we hold group coaching sessions and workshops where we break down these little mistakes and show you how to correct them before they turn into bigger problems. So if you're interested into that, link of the academy is in the video description. But now, let's just make this really practical. What do broken windows actually look like in sim racing? Let me give you some examples. Braking too early or too late, too hard or too soft. If you're braking too early, you end up slowing down sooner, therefore pressing the throttle much earlier, which kills rotation at the wrong point in the corner. But braking too late will make you miss the apex. Same goes with braking too hard and too soft. You either overheat the tires or you're just losing too much time on corner entry. Another example, getting back on the throttle too early or too aggressively. If you stomp on the gas before the car is ready, you either light up the rears and have wheel spin or push into understeer that ruins your exit. But if you're too hesitant with the throttle, you give up away free speed on every straight. Now, talking about trail braking, if you release the brake too quickly, the front tires lose grip too soon and the car refuses to rotate, forcing you to crank the wheel mid-corner. But if you hang on the brakes too long, you overload those front tires and lose all your mid-corner speed. Also, talking about steering corrections mid-corner, if you're constantly adding and removing steering angle, it usually means you enter the corner with the wrong speed. Those micro corrections scrub speed off the tires and overheat them, making the car worse lap after lap. And even on the hardware part, you can still find examples here as well. If your brake pedal flexes or isn't calibrated in the right way, you'll feel like everything is inconsistent, because that broken window kills your confidence. You can never quite predict how much stopping power you'll get, and your braking points will shift lap to lap. Force feedback is another one. If it's too weak, you miss the subtle cues that tell you that the tires are at the limit. But if it's too strong, your arms are fighting the wheel instead of feeling what the car is doing. Either way, you're driving blind. And these are just some obvious examples because it can be much more subtle than that in some cases. That's why being part of a community or having a friend or a coach help you spot this will make a huge difference. We have such a community on my Discord server with more than 2,000 people with similar goals, all looking to improve and help each other out. So if you want to be part of the crew, link is in the video description. But let's take a moment to zoom out and see this from a higher perspective, because it honestly feels like the broken windows problem stopped being about technique and start being about standards. The way you approach sim racing is shaped less by the details of your line or breaking point and more by what you choose to accept as normal. If you tell yourself that locking up once per lap is fine or missing an apex every other corner is just part of the driving, you're lowering the ceiling on your own potential. You're teaching yourself to settle for less than you're capable of. But when you raise your standards, when you decide that consistency matters, that sloppy inputs aren't acceptable, that even one mistake is something to be fixed, everything changes. That shift in identity is way more powerful than any setup tweak or hardware upgrade because it defines how you learn, how you practice, and ultimately how far you can go. Because in the end, it's not the broken windows that define you. It's whether you choose to leave them cracked or fix them. Every time you raise your standards, you're shaping the kind of racer you want to become. And that choice is always in your hands. So, if you want to continue from this video with the first step into raising your standards, check out this video right here on the left side about trail braking. It's the foundation for every driver, and honestly, I believe it's one of the best resources you'll find on YouTube right now. Thanks for watching, keep yourself motivated, subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.